What's good, y'all? Rich Sosa back in the building with another banger, man. So first things first, before we go ahead and get started, I just want to go ahead and say thank you, God, for another opportunity. And if it's your first time, man, y'all already know what y'all need to do. Be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. Now, anybody who wants to join the Rich Gang family, man, be sure to go ahead and turn on post notifications. Hit that like button. Let's go ahead and reach 50 likes on this video. Be sure to share it with your family and friends. And last, but definitely not least, go ahead and comment down below right now. Where are y'all tuning in from, watching today? So I hope you are all having a great Tuesday. But let's go ahead and get into the making of this build. I'm going to be bringing y'all the one and only overpowered slashing shot maker build at the point guard position. Now this build is actually going to come out to be called the slashing shot creator build, but I'm going to go ahead and change it up today, calling it the slashing shot maker. Now when it comes down to the breakdown of the pie chart, able to do everything that this build is able to do on the offensive end, you're going to want to go ahead and pick the pie chart split right down the middle with the shooting and the finishing, or the blue and green pie chart. When it comes down to your physical profile, you have two options to pick from. You can go with the fourth one for a much higher vertical, or for the maximum possible speed, go with the very first one. Now, two options, base it off of what you feel like is going to be best for your own preference. And now, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what we're going to be looking like for the main attributes. So, when it comes down to it, be sure that you follow along with every individual stat that I bring to y'all today. And from here, we're going to go ahead and get into the finishing first. So for the close shot, I'm going to go with an 88. As for the driving layup, I like 88 as well. Then we're going to go ahead and max out our driving dunk. Now, I just want to go ahead and say, if you were looking at the thumbnail, I had to go ahead and use Jordan Poole today because this build is really the #1 player that it's going to remind me of when it comes down to what we're going to be able to do. So yes, on the offensive end, we're going to be able to get the potential to get contact dunks. The shooting on this build is definitely going to be very useful. Then when it comes down to the playmaking as well as the defensive end, I was making sure that this build is definitely going to be one of the best and honestly most rare builds to use when it comes down to being well-rounded. But right here for the shooting, as you can see, we did end it off with 18 badges, maxed out our mid-range and three-pointer as well as the post fade, went with a 62 free throw. Now that was just basing it off of my preference to be able to take this build into any game mode. Then with the pass accuracy, I did go with the 77, 81 for the ball handle, and then from there our badge count is 14 finishing, 18 shooting, and 12 playmaking. But then once we go ahead and get into the defensive end, this is actually what is really going to put this build together perfectly. So as you can see, I did max out my perimeter defense, lateral quickness, steal, then also the same for the defensive rebound with a 47 block. And that's going to bring us up to a total of 7 badges when it comes down to the defensive end. Now consider the extra badge points that we have unlocked from completing an entire season and grinding it out. You have the potential to get at least anywhere from 5 to 7 extra badges on this build. And not only this build, but any build if you have been grinding each season this year. When it comes down to the body shape, now basing it off of my preference, I would really have to say defined, or if you do want to take up more space to get more contact dunks, I would go with burly or built. Now both of these options are really solid. When it comes down to the height, you have to be very careful with what you decide to go with. Now the reason why I do say that is because this plays a main factor in whether or not we're going to be able to get pro dribble moves as well as contact dunks. Now that's something that I do not want taken away from this build, so I'm going to go with 6'5". Once it comes down to the weight, my liking is really going to be somewhere around the 170s range. So 178, 179, or 180, somewhere around these three numbers are going to be perfect. Just make sure that as long as you feel comfortable with the numbers that you're working with, I promise you, everything is going to work out in your favor as long as you base this all off of your own play style. Now, 184 is still really solid. This just comes down to a personal preference, so you could go with the lowest or 184. Then for the wingspan, this is what's going to be able and allow us to get everything that we want out of this build. So when it comes down to if you do go out with a max wingspan, we're going to be able to, at 99 overall, get all of the contact dunks that you want for this build. However, if you do leave it without making any adjustments to your wingspan, we will be able to get the contact dunks if you do decide to pick that slashing takeover. Now, I have seen builds with anywhere from around an 81 all the way down to a 75 driving dunk still get the potential of getting contact dunks. It really comes down to the animations as well as the badges that you do equip with the certain build that you're using. Now, the takeovers right here are the slashing, sharpshooting, shot creating, and the playmaking. However, I'm going to go with the playmaking to break ankles and get a shooting boost. And as y'all can see, we have created the one and only Jordan Poole slashing shot creator build. Now from here, we still got to go ahead and make sure what this build is going to be looking like at 99 overall. Now you have to remember, there are a few extra badges as well as boosts that we need to add on to this build. So at 99 overall, we will be getting a +4 to our main stats as well as our physicals. But if you do get that gym rat badge, your speed at 99 overall will be a 90, acceleration gonna be an 89, and then when it comes down to the vertical, this will be a 91. But consider what the main stats are gonna be looking like. So you got the 99 overall +4. Then we're going to go ahead and buy boost, which is another +4. And if you do run with teammates that have floor general and or defensive leader, another +4, so +12 in total without any takeover boost. So essentially, with all that being taken in, you're going to be able to get a 99 close shot, driving layup, mid-range shot, three-pointer, post fade, and I'm not even going to get into the defensive end, but just keep in mind, if you do make the correct adjustments to this build, you're really going to be one of the best all around and more rare builds to use when it comes down to current gen. So from here, just remember, you also do have that +10 from the shot creating takeover or whichever takeover that you decided to go with. Let's go ahead and take it into the badges now. So also keep in mind the extra badges that you are able to unlock if you have been grinding these seasons out. But let's go ahead and get into the making for the defensive badges. I'm going to go with Gold Intimidator as well as Clamps. Now for the last bronze badge, I would really consider either Tireless Defender, Rebound Chaser, or Chase Down Artist. Now all three would be a solid pick, and you can even spread the wealth if you do feel like changing any tiers of the badges that are currently on. Now, once we go ahead and get into the playmaking, we have 12 badges to work with here. So the most essential and important badge for the playmaking, basing it off of my own preference, is going to be Handles for Days. I'm going to go ahead and throw it on gold. Then from there, just to help out with the movement of dribbling, I'm going to go with Quick Chain as well as Hyperdrive. Now with the last three, this should all be based off what you feel most comfortable with. So if you want to go with Quick First Step or Unpluckable and even spread the wealth, remember, you can even go with Bullet Passer and run 3 bronze badges. There's honestly no perfect way to go about any kind of badge setup, but as long as you feel like you put yourself in the best position for success with what you throw on, I promise you, everything should work out in your favor. Now, let's go ahead and get into the breakdown of what we're going to be looking like when it comes down to the finishing end. So for my liking, I'm going to go with Posterizer on Hall of Fame as well as Limitless Takeoff. Now both of these badges are really going to go hand in hand with one another. From here, we have 6 more remaining, so make sure that if you feel like you want to go with anything other than what I'm showing y'all today, you definitely can do so, and feel free to change anything basing it off of your own playstyle. Now for my liking, I do like to run at least bronze or silver Fearless Finisher. With the last badge, this one, in my opinion, would be really good if you did decide to go with either Back Down Punisher just to be more unique, or you can go with Acrobat on Hall of Fame, and I really feel like that's going to help you out on the inside as well. Now, let's go ahead and close it out with the shooting badges. So for my liking, I'm going to go with Hot Zone Hunter on Hall of Fame. Now, you definitely want to go ahead and consider Sniper. If you don't feel like going on the Hall of Fame tier, you can go with either gold or even silver. But the rest of the way, I pretty much like to spread the wealth, whether it be Green Machine and a Volume Shooter. I always like to run these badges at least. Sometimes I even do throw on Clutch Shooter, but this should all be based off what you feel like is best for your own playstyle. Now, I'm going to end it off with difficult shots on Hall of Fame, Deadeye on silver, and then you can go with the blinders as well as corner specialist on bronze, or just leave on silver corner specialist. And this is a setup: 14 finishing badges, 18 shooting, 12 playmaking, and 7 defensive. So man, if you did make it to the end, I love you and I appreciate y'all. And man, y'all already know what y'all need to do. Be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. Go ahead and turn on post notifications to join the Rich Gang family. Hit that like button. Can we go ahead and get at least 50 likes on this video? Be sure to share it with your family and friends, and comment down below, what did y'all think about today's video? Thank y'all, and man, with all that being said, I got one last thing to say. Thank God, and Rich out.